And I'll probably just keep the camera on you for a while. Nobody needs to see me.
But they're gonna miss your wall of games.
Oh God, they see it all the time. They really don't. They really don't need it. They're so tired of seeing me. Between the dice tower I work for and this, it gets to be a bit much. All right, 3, 2, 1, skip video. All right, there we go. How you doing, everybody? Welcome. We're live with Simon Lacey, and we are doing another one of our fun Kickstarter projects where we're talking to someone who is on Kickstarter and has a project that's very interesting. And today's project is Forlorn. Simon, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob.
Oh, not a problem, not a problem. So tell us a little bit about Forlorn.
Well, Forlorn is a survival team strategy game. So basically, you use a small team to complete the objective. And being a survival game, basically as characters lose health, get injured, or die, they don't recover from it. So it's a very strategic game. You're calculating whether it's worth it or not to go in on fights, basically using someone as bait, and trying to win one of the 4 different game modes that are out there. There's 31 different islanders right now. Actually, 33. We had a $1,000 backer 2 days ago who's becoming an islander. And I just done a Kickstarter exclusive islander who's a quick draw Jane. So she's just going to be for the backers. So there's 33 different islanders, which is over 4,000 different team combinations. So it's a lot of mixing and matching and trying to figure out how to get your team to complement each other.
Oh, wow. So it's almost in some sense kind of like the modes are very video game like, you know, the King of the Hill, of course, Last Man Standing type of thing. Are you able to find different weapons on the island?
There used to be a monetary system.
Okay.
And I took it out. It got way too confusing. Just basically, the game was clunky at one point. And took out the whole monetary and item system because it made more calculations than were necessary. It wasn't a streamlined game. So we've actually gone through 8 major gameplay updates at this point and around 200 minor balances in the game to get it to the fluid point where it is now, where basically it's just about the strategy.
How long have you been working on this?
It's been over 2 years at this point. It's been a long project. Basically, I've done all the artwork, and we have been revising, developing, and testing for around the past 1.5 years.
So you did all the artwork yourself? Everything? I mean, you drew all those figures and everything yourself? You came up with all those characters?
Yeah. I had a friend who helped me come up with some of the backstories and of some of the characters and ideas for fun characters. But I've done all the artwork at this point and the development for the game. So it's been 40 to 60 hours of work a week for 2 years.
Oh my God! Now, who do you have producing the game? I mean, should it be funded? I mean, you have a plan going forward. You got a publisher all set for it and all that stuff.
Idaho actually has a really unique program where they set up liaisons for you to basically stimulate business in Idaho. So I have 3 liaisons that are working for me in Taiwan and China, and I'm using the Shenzhen Senfutong paper company out in China to produce the game. And then I'm going to ship the pallets of games over to the Amazon fulfillment centers and just run it all myself at this point.
Oh, wow. So basically it's all going to be done by you. I mean, you're doing everything. I mean, you made the boards, you did all the art. I mean, this is your first game that you ever done, correctly?
I mean, I've been making games my whole life. Around 4 years ago, I was working on a project called Candrate, which was a free-to-play online digital trading card game that went up on Kickstarter. But around a year into working on it, Hearthstone was released, and no one had any interest in free-to-play online digital trading card games all of a sudden. So it dropped off the map. But if you look at my profile, you can see it, and you can see some gameplay videos and stuff. So. Oh
wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's. I mean, I just couldn't imagine doing all that myself. I mean, what have been some of the shortcomings? How you doing, Mario? Oh, I'm sorry. One of one of the followers popped up.
Oh, nice, right?
Yeah, but what have been some of the struggles going through with this, and do you see any real struggles going forward? I mean, especially once you get this backed.
So the main struggles coming up to this point has just been motivation more than anything. I do it because I love working on giant projects. I got obsessed with bodies of work around 4 or 5 years ago, and I love just contributing to like these world building sort of elements and building all these characters and stuff. And but motivation has been the biggest piece. The other hardest piece was testing. Testing was really interesting for this game because of how far it's come. We've had over 100 testers for the game at this point, and just learning to graciously accept any feedback that I receive and just really take it into consideration the fact that these are brilliant people that are taking time out of their day to play my game and come up with ideas. And it's like, whoa, okay, all right, cool. That's actually a really good idea on how to simplify the system. So the game was almost made just by the testers. To do testing, I asked online a bunch of board game clubs. I sort of sent out the feed and messaged a bunch of people that I knew or knew of people, and got people that were interested in the game, and then mailed them boards, and then they sent me feedback, and then I would post updates on the website, and they'd print out new character cards or update them with Sharpies, and then get back to me with more feedback. And we did that for a period of, that was all in beta testing. That took around 6-7 months of just working with these groups and just constantly balancing and revamping all these sort of small fixes and bugs to streamline the gameplay. And that's got to be the hardest part so far. At this point, the hard part is me, relaxing. The Kickstarter's running right now, and I'm just like, ooh, so just kind of bugging out a little bit. So just trying to. So that's the hardest part right now. I've got Shenzhen Sen Futong and the Kaokua Paper Company lined up over in China. So I got 2 people lined up. The hardest part right now is trying to find sliders, like a plastic slider of some kind for the game, rather than having the little. I have anodized alligator clips lined up as a backup, which are great because you can throw the characters, you can flip them around, and basically no matter what, when you're playing, you can you can flip the characters over and see when you're done with the character. So it's really nice having the clips, but trying to find a specially injected plastic slider clip. So I'm just talking to the people over there, and we'll probably get lined up through Alibaba or something like that pretty shortly here.
Yeah, that's got to be hard because the first thing you're going to worry about, and if you've dealt with a lot of board gamers, is their OCD about getting a card scratched or anything like that. So putting clips on it. I deal with it all the time when I'm doing some of my painting projects where I'm drilling into something, and then you get like 1,000 messages. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Right.
I go, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. We actually have a question here. What was your inspiration for this game? And that's from Pete Jones. He's actually in England. And just to make a couple of things real clear before he answers your question, you're going to be Euro friendly as far as shipping and all that stuff?
Yeah, we got the Euro-friendly shipping figured out. It was just England for a while there, and we spent around 3 days just hammering into the Amazon fulfillment program. And we've got Euro-friendly shipping set up at this point, so we're all over Europe. So.
Yeah, so anybody that's overseas, and I do have a lot of people overseas that watch this, just know that is going to be very friendly. So let's get back to that question. That question was, what was your inspiration for this game?
So when I was growing up, I played just a bunch of Warhammer. I started playing when I was around 8 or 9, and played till I was around 18 or 19, and basically played for 10 years straight, and spent way too much money on it, and then really got into competitive online video games, and just kind of grew out of it because whenever I'd go take a break, a lot of these gamers would practice and refine and stay with the updates much more than I could. So one day, basically just wanted to make a game that had the competitive strategy sort of Warhammer with the engagement of a video game. So that was where the idea originally started. My friend Jack and I, we were originally just sort of talking and spitballing. We're like, yeah, we're sick of video games. We're sick of everyone just kind of crushing us the whole time. So we started just coming up with a bunch of really silly characters, and sort of a game that was engaging and involved a bunch of elements, sort of the more high-end strategy games. So there's like blast tokens in Forlorn and stuff, except for there's like no rulers. You don't have to buy a ton of miniatures, and the game doesn't take like 4 to 5 hours to play. But it still has the potential for tournaments, and still has the potential for that same strategic involvement where you're trying to calculate, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I come in here? What's he going to do? What's this going to do? So just really like hardcore strategy and really high-end game involvement. So the game also, as characters die, the game accelerates, which is cool. So it starts with everyone kind of playing around the fence typically, but then as it just starts hacking into it, people start dying, and you have less characters to control. So the game will start getting, it'll accelerate as it goes, and it'll get more intense because you'll often just have one wounded character left with like 6 health, and you're trying to pick off everyone with that. So that's where the game originally started.
So how does the combat system work, if you don't mind explaining that?
Oh, yeah, not at all. So basically, there's an action system, and Islanders can take actions and distribute them however they want amongst their physical attributes. The physical attributes are like the damage, the movement, and the charge. Damage is just a melee attack. So that's only if the tiles are right next to each other. Movement is movement. You can move up to that distance. Except for when you're moving through gravel, it's halved, so you move slower. And then charge is movement and damage. The only rule about charge is you have to end adjacent to your target. Excuse me. So you can like charge to your target, or else you can kind of charge around your target, but you can't like hit and then charge away from your target. So that's the only rule about it. So it kind of rewards going into fighting more. And then ranged weapons. There's like 6 or 7 characters that are ranged, and they all use brine. Brine is similar to mana, except for it doesn't regenerate. So basically, if you're shooting an arrow, it takes an action and a brine to shoot it, and then it shoots 12 tile spaces. So they have to be within 12 tile spaces to hit them. And that's how all the ranged weapons sort of work. So you have to be conservative with your ammo. And then the only way to brine up is to spend a turn in water, basically, and then you get 1 brine. So you get 1 more shot for your ranged weapon.
Wow, that's interesting. So everybody's set with a particular. Am I starting to get that can thing?
Yeah, it's chopping up a little bit there.
All right, hold on. There we go. All right, there. Yeah, it's something weird with Windows 10. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, don't worry.
So anyways, each character has a certain number. Is there dice that you roll? Is there a chance to miss? Is there,
so there used to be dice, and there used to be dodge chances that all got taken out. So it's based on line of sight. If you have full line of sight or partial line of sight, typically. So if you have full line of sight, you deal more damage. If you have partial line of sight, you deal less damage. So whether or not it's worth it in that situation to fire the shot with that partial. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. The thing with the dice is I found it slowed down the game a lot. Okay. And additionally, with all the tile pieces on the board, you're like rolling dice and you hit tile pieces sometimes and it knocks them out of place. And additionally, sometimes a character would just dodge like 30 attacks in a row. So just be like, okay, well, this is super frustrating because my whole plan got thwarted by one person with a dodge of 1. And they've just managed to like scapegoat through the whole team. So it got replaced with just basic attack damage. And then there's an armor system. So some characters will have armor, and then that reduces 1 damage from every attack that they would receive.
Okay. So how would they damage them, though?
How would who damage who?
Oh, I mean, the attacker. I mean, the attacker has a number, and if that number's higher than the armor?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so the highest armor in the game is 2. So it would subtract 2 from any attack. And then there's more characters with 1 armor and subtracts 1 from every attack. So if someone does like a 4 damage attack or a 4 damage ranged attack, it'll only do 3 to them. Oh,
wow. Wow. So you really got to plan your movement out and so forth and so on. I mean, you really got to be on top of it. Wow, that's really interesting. I saw the boards. I mean, the boards are enormous. I mean,
Yeah.
they seem pretty big. Are they, and they're going to be double-sided?
Yeah, so they're a double-sided board. They're 24 by 28 inches. And then each tile piece is 1 inch across, face to face with the little hexagons.
Hmm.
And if we reach the $60,000 stretch goal, I'm going to throw, there's going to be another board in there. So a 6-player map.
A six player. Yeah. How many players can you play with this? I mean, is six the most? Or
So, yeah, so all the game modes are 2 to 4 right now, except
okay,
Last Man Standing, which is 2 to 8.
two to
So that's
eight.
kind of like the party mode. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. That's
Yeah.
really huge. Now, what are the different types of terrain, and how do they solo up? And it sounds like it's a very strategic game. So the weapons that you have are very set. And
Yep.
if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask away, by the way, and I'll convey them pretty quickly. But what are the different types of terrain, and how do they affect each character?
Yeah, so there's sand, which is like open terrain, so you can move openly over it, and then you can see over it.
Hmm.
Water, there's just like shallow creeks and ponds, and sort of the story is that like the islanders are drinking this water, and it's infected by this. It's this evil witch called the Grand Witch Gabriel, who kind of runs the islands. But that's only in the backstories on the website if you get into that. But people drink this brine, and it kind of gives them this like fervor. But water and sand are both open terrain, so you can see and move over them freely. The only difference about water is if an islander starts their turn in water, they can elect to forfeit that islander's turn to brine up. So you get 1 brine. And then there's gravel, which is obstructed terrain. So it takes 2 movement to go into every tile space of gravel.
Hmm.
Additionally, ranged weapons are half range on it, so you can kind of like sort of see through the gravel, but it's at a significantly reduced distance. And then there's rocks, which are the black terrain, and they're obstructed terrain, and you can't see through them, and you can't go over them.
Oh, wow. Um, let's see. Kickstarter link. Brandon, I'll put that in the bottom of the comments at the end of the video. I'll fill all that in and make sure that you can see it. But if you go to Kickstarter and just type in Forlorn, you can take a quick look at it. You have like an animation video in the beginning, which is really pretty neat. And then you go into it a bit and explain all the work that you put into it and those 100 kits. Was it hard taking any kind of, here's this baby that you've worked on for 2 years. You send out all these kits, all right, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, well, I don't like this part of it and this part of it. Was it disheartening, or was it okay? Did you have to take a deep breath and go, okay, let me get this right?
Yeah, that happened only like 1,000 times. So like the first like 100 times, I was like, all right, I get it. And then basically it's just like the mentality of like, well, I'm glad that this is happening now and not later when people are like, well, I really don't like this after it's released, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. So yeah, it was hard at first because doing all that work and then actually manufacturing the boards and getting these people interested in it, and then I paid to ship it out, and then most people are like, oh, I like the drawings, and then just have like 30 pieces of input, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, I just couldn't imagine what you went through. I mean, if I have a subscriber leave, I like go into like epileptic shock. It's like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And then
Right,
they
yeah.
have all this stuff coming in saying, wow, this is wrong. I don't like this, and so forth and so on. But did you have to? I mean, how many changes did you have to make? And is it still something that you're still kind of tweaking along the way, or do you feel you got something here that can go out and really, blow people away and say, hey, this is what I got. And, all these people put all this effort into it, and I feel this is as solid as it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, so I went through alpha testing, which is where I was just testing, and then I was testing with other people, and then I'd lend a board to a friend or something, and then they'd do some testing, give me some feedback. and alpha testing went through versions 1 through 6. So like map reductions, character reductions, dice moving, the monetary system. Characters had 2 abilities, and they had like 1 and a passive, and then got rid of that, and then how actions work, and then version 6 was when it really came out. And that's when I got rid of like I got rid of ambush creatures and minions and that sort of thing. And I started playing this game, and the game took like 40 minutes, and everyone was stoked on it. I was like, okay, there might be something that's happening here at this point. And so played that for around another month, and people just kept getting excited about it, and then just sort of turned to this thing where it just turned into more balancing all the characters at a certain point. I was like, okay, well, it's time to start balancing these characters. So that's when I started doing the beta testing. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's gone to the point where every character is really closely balanced. Some people always claim that one character is broken, but then I'll see someone else use another character in a totally different way and crush that character. And it's like, okay, like, look at this strategy. Like, look at this Nell Tarlin wall sort of system that somebody did. And everyone's like, whoa, okay. I never thought of that before. So just the diversity of players and their favorite, like, islanders that they have. And I think at this point, it's gone to the point where I'm done testing. And the game is ready, and I'm very satisfied with it at this point.
Yeah, especially with 4,000 different combinations. I mean that's just amazing. And of course you're going to get that one person that's going to go, well, this is OP, which
Yeah.
Today I learned means overpowered. Old
right,
guy. Yeah. I got 20-year-olds that play video games. I play with them too, but I don't know all the lingo as much. But that's got to be so hard to balance 4,000 different combinations and the amount of games you must have played. I mean, are you sick of it yet?
Every now and then. So I just got back from the Gem State Game Con this weekend, and it was just like my head was just spinning. And I went to my friend's board game club last night, and I was just like, I can't bring it. I can't bring Forlorn. I'm just gonna walk away or play some other games
tonight. Joe Perry, he's got a question. What is the lowest buy-in price for the game? And will there be a pledge manager so you can pledge $1 but go all in later?
I don't know if there'll be a pledge manager. I mean, again, I'm just a one-man team, and this is my second Kickstarter, and I'm still figuring things out with the whole Kickstarter program and how it works. The minimum buy-in was the early bird, and I think we're all out of early birds at this point, and that was $40. The game's $50 right now, so that's where it's at.
So what exactly, for those that haven't gone to the Kickstarter page yet, but just so we have some, go through a couple things so they know what they're going to be looking for when they go on there. What do you get with that $50? What's in that base set? Now, we know about the 30 characters, but what else do we get in there?
So there's the characters. And those are all quarter-sized sheets, and they're going to have a flip side 2 on them, which is going to have a symbol which will say exhausted, and then when you rotate it, it'll say dead. So as you go through characters on your turn, you can just flip them over, and then if they die, you can spin them so you know which ones are dead and which ones are just tired. Then there's going to be 50 clips, so that way you can play with up to 24 different islanders if you're doing 8-man, last man standing. Excuse me. There's the 4-way folding 24 by 28 inch board. And then if we reach the
so it's actually going to. Okay, so it's not just going to be that hexagon type of board. It's actually going to be a legitimately rectangular board.
No, it is hexagonal. The whole thing's hexagonal, but it's cut up in an interesting way in how it folds into 4 pieces.
Really?
Yeah. There's pictures of the prototype boards I sent out on the blog or on the Facebook page.
Okay.
But you can check it out there. So there's the 4-piece folding board. There's also 12 sailor minions. So after you play the game for a bit and you get better at managing islanders, everyone gets 3 sailors. So you have 3 islanders and 3 sailors. And sailors are just like minion characters. They all have the same stats, and they all have 10 health. And they're just sort of like meat shields that you can just sort of throw to attack people or get in the way of stuff. And then there's 87 Islander tokens right now. So between all the different Islanders that are making different things, like Tide Pool is a character that just spreads out into a giant mass. He's like a creep, basically. And he's got 13 different tiles for him. And then Zera's got like 6 skeleton minions, and I think Tarlan's got like 6 walls and stuff. So there's 87 different 1-inch hexagonal tiles. There's a rule book. There's a couple character reference cards. The box is pretty big because it's got to be able to fit that 4-piece folding board.
Exactly.
Then there's also a 3-minute timer. I forget which game I got it from. But there's a little 3-minute hourglass where if somebody's taking too long, you can just flip it, and then they have 3 minutes to finish their turn. So you don't always have to do it. But if someone's really dilly-dallying around, you can just flip the timer on them, and then they have to be finished before the 3 minutes are over. And I think there's also blast tokens. I think that's about it.
Now, during the game, are you able to find weapons on the island, or just what? I mean, can you equip your characters with different things, or what they got is what they got?
What they got is what they got. My brother-in-law really wants to make an expansion, which is just like a weapons grab, which is where you just throw a ton of weapons in the river, and they're all face down and random, and everyone just has to run out for them and then try and grab them and kill each other, which might be a fun expansion. But I haven't tested it at all yet. But right now, it's what they got is what they got. So when you're looking at how players work, you start to learn all the different Islanders and how they function. So it's easy to learn, but it's hard to master. Sort of the idea.
Oh wow! Somebody said there is a timer like that in Code Names. Yes, there is. They weren't sure if it was the hourglass timer, so it's actually an hourglass timer, correct?
The hourglass timer. Yep.
Keep it, because there's some people that'll sit there, especially like one of my daughters. They'll sit there all day long and go, "Well, if I move this person," and it keeps the game moving. How long per player is the game? Normal sit down. You said you got it down to about 40 minutes, but if you got 4 people playing and let's say you got 4 Islanders apiece, what would be the average game time?
Yeah, so it really depends on the game mode. So typically, right now, what I'm saying is like half an hour to 100 minutes is like the average game time. There's Team Capture the Flagon, which is where 2 players each control 3 Islanders and 3 sailors, and they're against each other. And that one's like the most in-depth and can go up to like 2 hours. But that's the longest game mode. Apart from that, they're typically around an hour. So it seems like if there's 2 people, it's around 40 minutes. 3 to 4 people around an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
Fantastic. And again, just for those that just came in, you did all the art yourself, which is just incredible. I mean, I was looking at it, and I just can't. I mean, how long did it take you to come up with all these characters? I mean.
Yeah, it took I mean, the characters were drawn and developed over a year. So I penciled them all out, so you can see some of how I draw the Islanders. If you scroll down on the Kickstarter page, I've posted some tutorials on how I draw the Islanders. But I do a pencil trace, and then for this game, unlike most projects, I wanted a grittier look while still maintaining like a graphic, light-hearted sort of quality. So the line work is all these like kind of bleedy like felt tip markers I did on rough paper. So that way the lines are all just a little bit rougher. And then I did cell shading for all of the Islanders to kind of make them a little bit more cartoony and a little bit more graphic and a little bit more lighthearted. But it's kind of like a grungy, lighthearted sort of feel to the game, which is what I was going for this time.
Now you said there were blast markers. Are there people that like throw grenades and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there's Baron who has a trebuchet, and he can shoot over any terrain, and he does like a little small blast token. So I know a lot of people hate Baron, but I think he's awesome. He's only got 10 health, so if you get anywhere near him, you can just cut him down. And then Sam is another one, and she's got like a gaseous bout, I think I called it. Yeah. And it's the large blast token, so she just runs in and just gasses everyone and just does a ton of damage. So again, it works on the full and partial system. So partially covered Islanders, take less damage than fully covered islanders. So there is AoE sort of damage again on this.
Area effect. Oh man, that's pretty nasty. Um, one of the things I wanted to ask you was you created all these characters, okay, and 30 of them. How many in total so far?
32.
32.
I have around. Yeah, I got like 10 more lined up to hit the stretch goals. So.
Okay, so let's say 42 characters you've already created out of your head and put it on the card and everything like that. Now, there's got to be a couple in there, and you got to give me your top 5 characters that you came up with and said, these are guys that I want to play every single time.
Yeah.
or that you are very personable about, and well, I want to play. Nah, you don't want to play that guy. Give that guy over here.
I mean, as weird as it is, Jovan has like a place in my heart, and he's like this like naked berserker that's covered in blood. And when he gets a kill, he resets all of his actions, and I love Jovan. So, apart from him, Gabby's my favorite. I love scout characters, and she can run 12 tiles in one turn and shank people is her ability. So she's super lightweight, high damage, and she's pretty fun. 3 other favorite characters. I think I really like Flint. His backstory is that he was raised by an army in General Sherman's March to the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was just sort of brought up in this weird environment where he's just kind of a survivalist that doesn't really fit in. And he gets washed up in the Geed and is like stoked about it for the most part. So he was a pretty fun character. And then let me think here. I gotta. Barry. Barry's awesome. Barry the bear. So Barry is a circus bear.
There's a circus bear on the island. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so Barry the bear is just like a huge tank and can take away actions from people. But I just really love having this bear in a pink tube. There seems to be this psychological effect about Barry in every game where everyone just tries to kill Barry as fast as they can. Even if he's nowhere near the map, they'll just go out and hunt him down. It's like, what?
So where did this game come from? I mean, did you associate this story? I mean, like you said, there's a pretty good backstory with the whole thing that you tell. Where did you get this story from? Was it just something you dreamed up, or did you take it from something that you saw, or were things bad in your childhood where you want to go kill everybody?
So I mean, when I was growing up, my dad was a surgeon, and I'd always come up and say, "Hey, Dad, like what's going on up here?" And he'd be flipping through slides, and it'd be like people's like heads cut and like rolled forwards and stuff, and like super graphic images of like that I saw from like a very young age frequently. And he'd take me on rounds and stuff, and I'd go and see all these sorts of things, and I just thought that this was something that adults like did and got used to. So at like a young age, I think I just got exposed to a lot more like sort of like gruesome things, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
it's made all of my artwork with more of a darker tone a lot of the time. But then I myself am like a very happy, outdoorsy kind of going person. So I kind of mix this kind of light and dark the whole time. So.
So you just came up with it, and it just kind of just formed that put people on a deserted island and just had each other the picks. Yep. That's pretty brilliant. So if the Kickstarter funds, which we really hope that it funds, and the game really sounds fantastic, but can you give us a realistic time? Like the biggest thing that everybody I talk to is when somebody goes and says, okay, this is going to be out March of 2017. And then, probably it gets pushed off to 18. Of course I'm looking in the future, but it's so many Kickstarters never make time. Do you feel that you're going to make your fulfillment?
Yeah, so I mean, I've set it kind of optimistically into the future. I
Hmm.
mean, at this point, the game's made, which
Hmm.
I think a lot of the games are still like, our artists are working on it. We're still testing this sort of thing. Like the game's ready to go. So basically, all I have to do is just send in the final bits and pieces of the artwork. They've already got all of it, the rest of it over there, the 31 different islanders and all the maps in the box and that sort of thing. And then to produce and ship and then just send it out to everyone. The goal I set right now is November, and I just set that out a little bit further, so that way hopefully people will be surprised when it comes in a month sooner. So I think we'll be good to go. So
And then, do you have any future projects that you're kind of working on, or things in your head that you know?
yes, I do. Actually, I can show you a sketch here if you want to see
Yeah,
see a real quick sketch
I
of the
think
next game.
everybody would love to see that.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Um, yeah, this is a game that I've been working on for the past 2 months, and I'm calling it an uncooperative deck builder. Um,
I like
and
things that are uncooperative.
yeah, so it's a deck building game. Here's the cover of it. So I don't know if you can see this too well here. It's called Shelled. Um, So the logo there is the title shelled, and it's got two cigarettes kind of burning in front of a skull with like the logo behind it, and then it's got a vault exploding with a bunch of like shells in front of it. Um, but basically, it's like you're gonna be one of these guys called the Zebras. That's the name of their gang.
Hmm.
And the Zebras are just these people that they wear like black and white face paint all over them.
Oh,
And
wow.
Yeah, so you're gonna be one of the zebras, and it's like a bank heist deck building game where everyone's trying to screw each other over. So it's gonna be you have to kind of like form teams and stuff, and then screw each other over at a certain point. So you don't want to screw each other over too soon because then you can't like break into like the vaults and stuff. But that's the next project on the radar is the uncooperative deck builder. So
Do you find do you find that doing your own art has really cut out a lot of time and a lot of the headaches? It's it because everybody I've talked to, matter of fact, last week we had a guy on here who's doing a huge dungeon thing, and one of the biggest thing is he says the biggest trial that I had was actually doing the art and trying to get people to get on board and get the art in on time. Being an artist as yourself, this really kind of took a big chunk of the time out.
it took it out and it added it in because it's on the last project I did the artwork, and then my
Hmm.
friend did a lot of the development for it. And then we just kind of collaborated a lot of time on just like, oh well, this would be a cool mechanic, let's try this out. And then he was doing all the coding for it, so it was like I was doing artwork,
Hmm.
he was doing coding. And this one, just doing everything just takes twice as long. Actually, it probably takes like, I mean, you always expect it to take a certain amount. It takes like 5 times as long, but I really enjoy doing the artwork because then I can edit things, I can create things. Like especially as this campaigns come up, as I need to create like banners and stuff. It's like, okay, well I can just sort of slap this together right now. And I imagine having to outsource that and then source it back in would take a while. So it's been really nice in that fact, and the fact I can style the game in my own imagination into how I would want
Right,
it.
right. We got a question for Joe. Joe asked, what do you feel like the biggest challenge will be with producing this game? What's going to be the biggest challenge in producing this game? Once you get funded and you got everything all figured out, what is going to be your biggest headache? Oh, and he had
Shipping.
something to that. Yeah. And by producing, I mean from today until you have finished a finished copy in your hands.
Yeah, it's going to be shipping. I think just shipping like hundreds and hundreds of boards is just going to be busy work, and I think that's going to be the biggest headache I have so far. Getting the producers and manufacturers lined up is it's in their hands at that point. And I just need to do quality control and just make sure that everything's up to the standard of quality that I want it to. And that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but making sure that the pallets make it, making sure that the Amazon fulfillment program sends it to everyone and that the exact addresses are right so that way these people actually get it. That's going to be the hardest part, is managing all the shipping.
Now, actually, you talk about quality control. It's actually going over into China. How are you going to be able to do that? I mean, are you constantly? I mean, is your phone bill going to go nuts? Calling to China all the time. But I mean, how are you going to be able to have hands-on quality control with that, or do they?
Yeah, it's going to be a prototype pieces. So basically, I'm just going to get them to rip off a copy for me before they start producing everything else, and then anything that isn't correct, I'm going to have to send back, and then be like, I would like this updated, and this a little thicker, this a little wider, that sort of thing. So basically, just through prototype pieces being built and shipped back and forth over a period of a month or two, and then once the green light goes, then they just rip them all out. So.
One guy says Skype China. Yeah, it's a lot better. I'm an old guy. I think of picking up a phone, with a cord to it. No, but exactly. Getting that copy and making sure go through it. I assume that you really investigated this company that you're using.
Yeah. So basically, I've done a bunch of quality control reports and stuff. I've seen the other games that they've made at this point.
Can you name off some of those games that maybe everybody might know so they get an idea?
Yeah, so the one that comes to mind is the Game of Thrones game. So that was produced over at the Shenzhen Senfutong Paper Company.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that was like the most reputable. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's like a quality game, so. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, otherwise I was going to say, just look up Shenzhen Senfutong. I'll post it somewhere on an update or something if you guys want to check it out, and then you can just research all the different games and stuff that they've made.
Oh, wow. You see, I mean, that's really good. And I think that kind of information, especially when people are backing things, they don't, not against you or anything like that, but a lot of people just put up their thing and go, hey, don't worry about it, I got it. It's nice that you would put up a link like that and give people a chance to kind of look, oh, great, I feel confident backing this because you're talking about every aspect of everything that you're doing, and that's really going to make a big difference. And hopefully when people see this, it does make a big difference.
That's what I'm hoping for, so.
All right, so we held you for about 45 minutes, and I can't thank you enough for coming in here, and I want to thank everybody that's shown up, and anybody that has any questions. How can we get a hold of you? Is it through the Kickstarter page?
Yeah, please feel free to leave updates. I'm constantly responding them on the Kickstarter. If anyone's got any questions left on this program, if you guys want to ask now, I'd be happy.
I mean, go ahead. I mean, if anybody's got any questions, fire away. It's going to take a while because we do have like a 5-second delay. Facebook page for Forlorn. Do you have a Facebook page for it?
Yeah, it's Forlorn the game. Facebook.com/Forlorn the game. Otherwise, there's forlornthegame.com, which is the website. And it's got like all the lore, backstories, videos, and that sort of stuff. So there's just a ton of information on the website. I've set it up to be a resource for gamers as they get the game. So like every now and then there's really minute specific situations where one islander runs across another. And if you're looking for it, and then, people often when they're playing games will be like, oh, let's check the rulebook. Oh, it's not in the rulebook. I wanted to avoid that by having the website where it's like, if these two things run into each other, this one gains precedence. And if you ever run into a situation that isn't mentioned on the website, I encourage you to leave comments, and then I'll update the rule book if there's really specific minute situations that haven't been addressed at this point. So check out the website, forlornthegame.com. Huge resource. You can message me on the Facebook page, or else leave comments on the Kickstarter, and I'll be happy to get back to you.
Wow, I mean, that's amazing that you have, the websites up and everything like that, and all the testing that you did. Somebody asked if beta testing possibilities, and like you were talking about earlier, I mean, you sent out how many of these?
So I've had over 100 testers at this point. I sent out around 9 or 10 beta boards, and then I've also produced in total probably around 20 25 different board sets as the versions have gone on. So it's just been a lot of boards. I got boards lying around everywhere over here. So
can you show us one of the boards? Would you mind?
yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. I got this one, which is one of the slightly older beta boards. So you can see that's not textured or anything. And this is just foam core. And this is how they were all made, was just pieces of paper cut out and then spray mounted on foam core. And so then I could send these to people. So.
Wow. And you would send 4 of those out?
No, so people, a group would get one double-sided board like this.
Okay.
And yeah, so and then that'd come with all the Islanders and clips and a rule book and all that sort of stuff. So each group only got one board set, and then they could update it as they went. And then on the website, all the Islander cards are on there. So you can almost create a print and play just from the website. So they could just save the images and reprint them with the new updated versions and stuff. So
amazing, amazing. Do you have any cards there so we could just show those off, or the best thing to do is go over to the Kickstarter page?
Let me take a quick peek. I might have some just around.
Go ahead. And guys, ask away. You know, this is a good time to really learn about this project, or any kind of questions that you might have. You know, I see you guys all are already saying that this is amazing, and you know, they've already gone over and taken a look at it. So that's just fantastic.
Awesome. Oh, this is my trusty tackle box. So you guys can check this out. This is what Forlorn has been living in for years at this point. So, yeah.
If you hit 100,000, do we get a tackle box?
We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, so like this is like Sam. If you guys can see that. Oop, there we go.
Yep.
And then so if you can see, these are all the different Islanders in like one game set. So let's try and see if I got them all lined up on the screen here. So this is like Harrison. Harrison's actually a girl, just as a heads up. She's a beefy Scottish woman that is wearing a diver outfit. So
where did that come from?
One of the testers, Eric Diamond, had an amazing sense of humor while he was playing it, and he was like, "Well, it doesn't say anywhere that it's not a girl," and then just started referencing it Harrison as a she the whole time. So, but yeah, so these are all the different Islanders that are in there. So it's a hefty stack at this point.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now everybody's asking, can they get a tackle box with a pledge level? They want a tackle box pledge level.
We'll figure that out. If there's enough like serious demand for it and we reach an amazing stretch goal, I'll consider it. So.
The tackle box pledge level. Fantastic. I mean, this is just amazing that you did all this and created this from your mind. I mean, it speaks volumes, and you know, everybody's just wishing you the best here, and they're going to really try to. We got already some people that are going to go make a pledge and stuff like that. So I really hope things work out fantastic for you, and also, I'm going to leave in this video that if anybody has any questions that you know want me to get them to you, I'll make sure I get questions to you, or anything that they come up with. And you know, the whole reason for this segment is to help the Kickstarter community get going. And you know, I picked certain projects. I saw your project. I really enjoyed it. And I thought, this is something special, and I wanted to put it out there. And I'm going to see what I can do, talking to Suzanne possibly at the Dice Tower, to maybe show it off next week or the week after.
Oh wow!
As one of the projects there. So you know, especially with it up there, I mean, you put a lot into it, and I think everybody would enjoy this. Hey, Kevin, he said he's sorry, he just got here. A lot of people come in late, and that's why the best thing about this, it goes up on playback. So I think that's what we got here. Kevin, if you could just stay on air with me for a minute before I go off. I just want to thank everybody for coming in. Please go to the Kickstarter, Forlorn, Simon Lacey. thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for coming on, and just hang in there for a second. Everybody, as you know, we've got about 1,000 things going on this week, but other than that, thank you so much for being a part of this. Go to the Kickstarter page. I'll put the link in the bottom once this gets up online. And Simon, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for all the questions, guys. Please keep airing them. I love hearing people's feedback and stuff. So.
All right. And with that said, we'll see you guys later.
All right.